Hello everyone, my name is BigHeroSixy and this is going to be an elemental game playthrough of the Uldaman dungeon on the Dragonflight Alpha. I am enjoying Shaman so much right now. I cannot understate this. I have played Shaman in the past. I usually focused on Enhanced. Elemental's been okay in some situations. I played a little bit of it in BFA. But it is just great with the new talent trees. The Shaman designer has hit it out of the park. Obviously, there's still some issues with the trees. They're not 100% perfect. But playing Elemental right now, my goodness, it feels so good. There's a lot of, I believe it's called haptic feedback. There's tactility when you press buttons. It feels very, very good. For those curious about what build I'm using, that's in the background here, I am using a mix of Aftershock, Mountains Will Fall, Stormkeeper, Ascendance. So I'm picking a lot of these big budget options as you're going down the tree. It's just really great. The shaman trees in general allow us to take a lot of nice damage nodes. There's some worthless options. I'm looking at Feral Lunge on the enhanced tree. Not a big fan of that. Why would I take that? But other than that, they're generally all the damage nodes are usually 1 to 2 points. They're big, they hit hard, they add a lot to your damage. They add sometimes they add some nice things to your gameplay depending on what you want to do. But the AoE build that I'm using right now has been theory crafted overall by a few of the oh, look at that. Sorry, just to cut myself off there. That 46k earth shock as I'm running through the hallway. Just a nice little drive-by, just but man, I just enjoy playing this so much. The talent tree that I am using, though, as I was saying, was theory crafted by a few shaman players. If you go to Limit Max's channel, there has been discussion for a lot of the current trees that are out, and shaman players went through that, and I'm using basically the M+ build right now with a few changes on my own part that I think, you know, some talents are bugged, not all of them are working, but shaman's been very, very clean so far. But man, I am just enjoying myself so much. It is so fun to play. I will have some damage numbers up going over the damage logs as we get to bosses in the dungeon. And I think the damage is reasonable. I've been hitting target dummies, and on 4 target AoE, it seems pretty high for sustained AoE. When it comes to single target burst, it's okay. But we are missing a few talents. That's a very, I really don't think we should be looking at damage right now, but everyone is always curious, so I do put it in there. Some classes just have bug talents. You'll see the rogue player in my group. He's actually a very, very good player. I know him. I'll be pushing keys when keys come out on the alpha later, but stuff is just broken in the rogue tree right now. You can tell by the DPS here. The evoker obviously is insane right now. It's 3 targets, really easy to hit AoE. I didn't look at what build. I see a lot of red spells on the replay right now. I know blue here would be perfect because of the 3 targets. I'm a little bit behind in comparison, but I still pump out a good amount of damage. I'm more surprised by the guardian tank with how much damage they're doing. But you can see I'm just trying to make sure I get as many casts off here, and then we're about to have the AoE phase. I'm thinking like, okay, well, I got an insta-proc, that's awesome. I can use the spender here to keep moving out of the AoE, and then I go back to just normal damage. Very easy fight. I just keep getting Uldaman. I don't know why. I wish I had more gameplay. There's only 3 dungeons in, so it is what it is. But this is a short and sweet dungeon. A lot of people have gone a lot faster with it. For a lot in this group, though, there's a lot of new players in this group that haven't ran it yet. So you'll see, I'll do some cuts here of the footage where we're destroying the shortcuts just because it really, oh, look at all that damage. It's so fun to play. I sound like a shill for shaman right now, and honestly, you can call me that. I've been converted. I think Blizzard is honestly messing with me really hard by not releasing the monk or warrior trees, because that's usually what I play, and I'm really excited to see those. But shaman's always been something I've dabbled with, and I am just having so much fun with it. I just want to go play shaman all the time now. Instead of making videos, I just want to play shaman. It's great. Obviously I need to test other classes still just to get them tested, but man, I can't wait till M+ is out so we can do some M+ testing and see how shaman does. But yeah, we're about to do another boss here. I believe the damage meters will show up in a second. It's just really fun. I'm not always the biggest fan of spreading my flame shocks, and there's actually a talent to do that. But I didn't talent into it because I thought there would be better options, and I can maintain 3, but there is a lava totem that spreads flame shock a little bit and does AoE damage. I'm not sure how strong that's going to be. I prep my burst here, and then you can see the damage here. The evoker is once again on top. I really think because there's a mini AoE part of this fight with the ads coming up, that's why they're doing so well. They're not really restrained by target caps, I believe. I would have to double check on that. Don't quote me on that. But depending on their positioning, you're able to hit so much. Like if they did their cone ability here, they could cone everything right here. I go to priority target the quaking totem. They deep breath. I wish they deep breathed into the totem. That would have been sick. Their damage probably would have been even higher then. But yeah, I'm just trying to do damage, do my best here. See what's going on. I have an elemental up. I think I'm holding it for some reason. Probably because the fight's almost over and I'll use it for a trash pack later. That's something I've been messing around with. I don't like holding DPS cooldowns, but I also like to get the most value out of them. And I really don't know the pacing of these dungeons yet, just depending on who the tank is and you know, things like that. Some tanks will pull huge packs and make you work for it, and the healer's panicking the whole time. I make a mistake here. I should have just bursted Bromac as fast as I could. But yeah, Elemental Shaman is just really fun to play. I've been having such a good time with it. It does feel really meaty. I mentioned that before. There's a lot of good feedback. But other than that, we can just take a look at some of the gameplay here and I can talk over it and see what's going on. Crumbling Cave Rock. I mentioned in chat, I don't know if I'm blind. I think they added more rocks. So if you're a Dragonflight miner, you can right click on that and instantly clear it. And if you clear it, it becomes a shortcut that you can go back to. And everyone's just like, well, what is this? I think for a lot of people, this is the first time they've been in this dungeon. So it kind of is what it is. But I'm going to skip past this. It basically just does a shortcut that'll take you back to the beginning if you die. There's a new rock essentially after every boss now at some point. I don't think that's needed. Most people only have issues with Emberon, but maybe if this becomes an M+ dungeon, this will be very, very valuable, depending on how hard the bosses are on M+, or even on Mythic for that matter. All right, we're caught back up. The Guardian Druid goes in and pulls some more. Yeah, I'm just cutting down on a lot of the random slow down in the dungeon. Obviously, people new to the dungeon are going to explore a little bit. That's great. This is probably my 15th to 20th run of this dungeon at this point. I'm just chilling, but they did add something to it, so there are changes every week because they added more of these rocks to allow you to have a skip back from the entrance if you die. So I think that's cool. I guess they're preparing. They actually took the feedback some of us did say. We said, hey, we really don't like that there's only one essentially air quote graveyard, because it's at Emberon, and if you die anywhere else, and if you don't kill the rock, you have to run all the way back through the dungeon. You don't even get that Emberon skip. So I guess they went fully in the other direction and just added a rock after every boss of some sort. I will say this, and I don't have a lot of single target talents in my tree. Those are going to be what I'm going to be picking up when I have a few more talent points. There's a really cool talent called Further Beyond that allows you to stay in Ascendance a lot longer. I really want to test that for a burst window on single target. See how long I can extend my Ascendance with spinders and everything, especially with Aftershock paired up, because Aftershock seems to proc all the time, just giving me free earthquakes all the time. The damage meters are up. We have 10k for me here, single target. I think it would be higher. There's a knockback on this boss. You can see there's some slight movement, and I'm not playing optimally. The Evoker's right behind. So in single target, it seems pretty okay. I believe I've hit higher on this on Enhance. But that makes sense because I'm a caster, and if I get knocked around in my cast... See, the Stomp I have to time. Otherwise, I lose a lot of damage there. Essentially, the Stop is the big AoE knockback. But yeah, and Elemental has just been so much fun to play. I really can't stop gushing about it. I wanted to make this video last night, but I just... I wanted to get my thoughts more together, essentially, before I did this. Every button press just feels good. And that's really what I value. damage numbers aside, I will play something that I just have fun with. As long as I'm not turbo griefing my raid team or my M+ team or whoever I'm playing with. You know, there's been some specs over the years where it's like, wow, the damage is tuned so low. Blizzard, please help us out. Even if maybe the gameplay was good, in some cases the gameplay also isn't good, so nobody touches it, which is, you know, sad because they need to improve on it. But shaman trees so far just really have been fun to play. I haven't tried resto. I'm not a big healer guy, so you'll have to forgive me there. I'm willing to learn to do some testing on here, but I'm probably probably not the most valuable person for that feedback. But you know, I think it is worthy to have feedback from newer players as long as they're not saying something just that's criminally wrong, if you will. I love these big AoE packs. I really want to see bigger packs. Here's a small worry. Thinking about target caps, Chain Lightning does have a cap, and some other specs do not have this cap, or it's higher up. I believe Chain Lightning only goes to 5, and I've seen some cases where AoE goes up to 8. But we do have Earthquake, so I guess the Earthquake itself is going to be dealing most of the sustained damage, and I've noticed that in logs, so that may not actually be a non-factor here, just thinking out loud. Because, you know, there in some cases, as you get higher up in keys, the goal is to just have massive pulls. You know, the tank is going to kite, or you have a giant burst window there, whatever, what have you. And if Chain Lightning isn't capable of keeping up with the other AoE classes, then Elemental may not be able to push as high. But I believe there are some Elemental players, maybe not pushing above 20 plus as often. But I think the main issue Elemental has right now is defensive options, and it seems like with the current class tree, we have a lot more options to just spread out our utility. Maybe not so defensives, but for the team, we have a lot more options for the team now, because the class tree itself, not the spec tree, I'm talking specifically the class tree. The Shaman class tree has so many totems. You don't have to take them if you don't want to, but there's so many totems for so many different usages, where I probably could be making better usage of what I've taken. The most I've used the healing stream totem. I had to duo the Forge Master boss in Neltharis with a tank because our healer died, and I kept both of us up. He was a blood DK, so he did most of it. I just had to focus on me, basically, in that situation. So I kept both of us up as best as I could, and I went through all my defensives, and we were fine. I got targeted by the same ability multiple times. I was out of mana, but I was able to stay up. It was pretty great. But yeah, Elemental, very, very good. There's speaking of talents, there's actually a talent called Spirit Walker's Grace that I did not pick up that will come up right now at Emberon as we skip ahead to Emberon, because we were fighting that rock. You can see the damage here. It's a heavy movement fight, so it makes sense. And you should take notice of me making use of my procs very, very well here when we do the ad phases where we have to move around. So I'm playing it without Spirit Walker's Grace. I'm going to put that on the screen in post-editing, but just so you guys know what it does, it calls upon the guidance of the spirits for 15 seconds, permitting movement while casting shaman spells. You can also cast it while casting. This isn't the best phase going into here, but I would love to have Spirit Walker's Grace right now because I don't have any procs. I've positioned myself to be able to move forward, so it's fine. I got a little scared of the laser. I could have probably fired another lava, but here I'm going to do it instead on this. Caught up. I'm able to go through it. My second phase, I'm living off procs. So my second ad phase is actually really, really nice. I had a lot of fun on the second phase. I think I did the majority of the ad damage, to be honest. So everything's down. We go back to fight Emberon. Prepping for the next phase. I pop my CDs. I pop Lust because I wanted to see, since there were new people in the dungeon, I wanted to see, hey, are we going to get through are we going to get through the phase that killed a lot of people the first time we tested this? And we're just going in, we're blasting, we're blasting, we're blasting. We're about to transition. I'm looking to see where the ads are. I believe the lines, see, I guessed right, the line's going to be right here. I load them up. I get ready to start casting. I get an aftershock. I'm moving with my aftershock proc. I got, look at all those procs, man. I'm just still moving. I'm blasting. How much damage did I do to that? I just, I get it out my Stormkeeper. I'm still going. I'm still going. More procs. Oh, what a phase. I'm able to spin some of my Maelstrom on Earthshock, and then it's down. I did so much damage there. That was so fun. And if the procs happen, you're having a great time. But if you don't have the procs, that's where the Spirit Walker's Grace will come in. Obviously, you'll only have it for one of those ad phases. But just having it available, hey, that's huge, right? That's fantastic. But yeah, Emberon hasn't really been too much of a difficulty so far in the alpha after week 1, after people figured out what to do. They may have tuned it without me knowing. It didn't seem like the damage I was taking was too high there. We're going to skip ahead to the final few trash packs and then into the final boss. I don't want to take too much of your time here. But overall, the elemental damage, I like it. I like the way it feels. I like the way it plays. It seems like there's a huge amount of utility in the shaman trees. There's a few totems that I'm not specifically sure where that's going to fit in. And then we have a few like all-star totems that we've had for a while, like the wind totem, you know, that has its uses for some fights, you know, get everybody across the room. If there's a crazy mechanic, everybody's got to move. Honestly, I should have made better use of that in the Emberon fight, for example. It just feels really good to play. I think my only issue so far is spreading Flame Shock, but really that's just a tab thing and keeping up with it. And when I actually have my UI and not the base UI, nothing against the updated UI, it's so much better compared to the base that we have now. You have a lot more options, but I do miss my Elf UI with what I've done. You can see the damage numbers here. I do lead here. This fight is a little skewed. I'm going to be completely honest. We do DC near the end of the fight and we don't finish it. The alpha servers, somebody tripped over the plug because it actually reset our dungeon. But we go into our burst phase again. Feeling pretty good. Able to move without getting hit by that. I do want to say, while I am in love with Elemental right now, and I really am enjoying playing it, a lot of this is going to come down to Mythic dungeons and how it feels to play Elemental in Mythic Plus as you go further and further. To another extent, how does it feel in Raid? I believe Elemental right now in Raid is performing pretty well. It's not as crazy as the Warlocks right now, but it's still performing pretty well. In some cases, you can see we're DCing right now. Everybody's running in place. The whole group DCs. And it actually resets the dungeon. But I believe Elemental's doing pretty okay right now. I just think the big thing with the new talent trees, we get to have more options to add a little bit of more variety to our play style and our rotation and our burst windows, depending on what we want to do. And that's just a big thing for me because Elemental itself isn't too bad on live right now, but we do have more options with the updated talent trees. And I think that's mainly because the Shaman, I guess, class designer or talent tree designer, they're just doing a good job. A lot of people are pointing to the Shaman trees and saying, hey, make more of the trees like this when they're doing discussions about this. And I have to agree. Now, I believe the Hunter designer is the same as the Shaman designer, and a lot of people had issues with the Hunter trees. That's why I haven't really done a Hunter video or anything like that. But there was a huge overhaul of the trees because of feedback just this week. And I believe Shadow Priest is also getting some changes because of feedback. I've heard some stuff about rogues as well. So I might be on the copium right now, but I'm really hopeful with Blizzard right now. I've been having a lot of fun just playing the game, even though it's alpha. We don't have M+ or anything like that. It's just been very refreshing. So I hope that continues. I'm going to end the video saying, hey, I'm a new YouTuber. If you enjoyed the video, please like or subscribe to my channel, and I'll be putting out more content in the future. I do also stream on twitch.tv/BigHeroSixy if you want to see some I won't be playing Shaman all the time. If you're going to be joining for Shaman, I'm going to be playing everything because that's just how I like to play games. I like to try and dabble in everything, or at least, you know, be good at a few things primarily, but dabble in everything and see how I do. And other than that, I hope you guys have a good day. Thank you for listening. Really like Elemental Shaman. Continuing to be my new main. We'll have to see what Warrior and Monk bring. But yeah, thank you so much. I'll see you guys later.